So the contractor's been working really hard for the last 3 to 4 months with the opening up works, making really good progress. They've kindly agreed to give us 2 minutes just to give you a quick update without pneumatic tools in the background. So obviously it's looking a little bit quiet here at the moment, but once we're done, they'll be back on it again. So this is one of the worst affected areas, essentially where we looked on the heat map and we saw the flat roofs where we were stood a little earlier. We've got this metalwork above the door frames. So what's going on here is you've got steel columns on either side, obviously this being a particularly badly affected example, and then these curved steel beams or lintels would have originally been put in to support the weight of all that brickwork above and the high level roof structure. Unfortunately, what's happened, because of the effects of driving wind and rain on that sort of westerly facing elevation over the years, this is now deteriorated to such an extent, it's delaminated. Typically metalwork expands by up to 6 to 7 times when it corrodes to that extent. It's obviously tightly packed with masonry. That masonry then has ruptured and the steel has continued to deteriorate with the water ingress. We've now unfortunately got a scenario where elements of masonry that were originally intended to effectively be cladding are now load bearing. Similarly, the door here, when the contractor tried to open these doors, it became very apparent quickly that those were now load bearing. So hence we've got some temporary propping in there, which looks a little peculiar because it's actually just picking up the top of the timber door frame. This area has been excluded in terms of access for the works for a moment to ensure the safety of site operatives. We've had a design prepared for temporary works, which is going to go in at high level above that metal work, and we should have propping going in next week. So you'll see what we call needles, little beams going through the wall, a scaffold system, and on the outside there'll be some raking props, so some diagonal members, just to give the elevation stability, because what's been apparent through monitoring is this elevation is leaning a little bit out, unfortunately, at the top. Just sort of panning around, it's a similar story over on the south side of the building. Difficult to see here, but just above me, immediately in front, we've got needle beams, as we call them, so steel beams that are going underneath the original steel beams to the building to provide propping. So what's essentially happened here is we've endeavoured to investigate the metalwork, the junctions between the beams and the supporting columns, the uprights. We've identified there's issues, and off the back of that we've implemented propping. So it's been quite a progressive sort of approach. We open up, if things look reasonable, we record the findings and we move on to the next area. If we find something we're concerned about, we stop work, we essentially instigate a propping system. Obviously we've got high level access there as well to get up to that level to do any further opening up and recording, and then once that's safe we continue round. So it's been a situation where on the west and south elevations, unfortunately things aren't looking too great in terms of the condition of the metalwork, but we're approaching it in a professional manner and we're comfortable with what we're doing and how we're doing it. As we move sort of diagonally across the building in sort of a northeast direction, the picture's much happier. We're getting outside the effects of the flat roofs. There's a substantial structure in the middle there, but that's actually more of an access scaffold to enable us to get to height, to inspect the domes and the high level sort of parts of the building. So that's less sinister than what it perhaps appears. And as I say, as you move sort of across there beyond the Harris fencing, the general condition of the metalwork to some degree has improved.